Good morning, world. This is Edward Bevilacqua here in Las Vegas. Today it is Tuesday, December 11th, 2018. It's a somewhat cloudy day, or I should say overcast. There's snow in the mountains. It's been there for over a week. Probably will be gone. It'll be there probably until May or June. I think last year it was there till June. So a little bit cold outside. I think it's in the 40s. Don't have my phone. Yeah, I don't know. Probably in the high 40s. Okay, so today we're going to do a thought experiment called the apple tree. But first, as we usually do, we'll just give a little summary of where we are, what we're doing. This week is inside our skull-sized kingdom. And we have two fundamental questions that we ask with that. One is, number one, who am I? And number two, why do I behave the way I do? And the idea is, if I know who I am and I know why I behave I do, then I have the ability to dial in who I need to be right now in order to be the most effective. And then have the ability to dial in who I need to be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever later. Thus making me more effective, more productive. Another benefit of that is if I know who I am and why I behave the way I do, then I know why other people behave the way they do in terms of how their brain works. I don't necessarily know their beliefs, but if I know what they believe, and I know how their brain works, then I have the ability to get them to do what I want them to do. And that should be for a good purpose, something productive, to help me become successful, which means to have money plus meaning and purpose. And here, meaning and purpose, in our program, meaning and purpose means service to others. And what everybody can do right now is sacrifice their time, give up their time with no expectation of anything in return. So that's what we do. This week is inside our skull-sized kingdom. And those are the two questions we're asking. Yesterday, we focused on the reticular activation system, that part in our brain stem that's about a bundle of neurons about the size of our little finger, located in our brain stem, that is associated with our beliefs, which in effect, something that is important to us, something that we believe, it is scanning all information available to us at all times to support our beliefs. So if I have a belief that my name is important, if I hear somebody say my name, it's going to get my attention. I didn't hear anything else. I didn't know they were having a conversation, didn't know the conversation was about me. But as soon as my name is mentioned, it comes to my attention in real time. So that means I'm constantly, part of my brain is constantly scanning for anything that's important. If somebody offers me, says we whipped up a batch of liver and onion flavored ice cream, my belief about liver and onion is that it's not good. So my statement would be, yuck, no thanks. On the other hand, if they say peach pie, I have a belief that peach pie is good. I'm not diabetic, so I don't have any negatives against peach pie. I say that I feel that it's good, and somebody offers it to me, I say yum. On the other hand, if somebody says we whipped up a batch of Hetzapetza, would you like some? Because I don't know what Hetzapetza is, I can't really form a good answer. I have to think about that. And that would be, we could build a thought experiment around that, which is what we're going to do today. And this one is called the apple tree. So just imagine that you're somewhat hungry, not really overly hungry. You're not like you just ate. And you have an assignment. There's an apple tree out in the back, and the assignment is go get an apple. Just go get an apple. There's an apple tree out in the back. Just go get an apple. The thought experiment is, which apple do you choose? So you can imagine you walk out to the apple tree and there's a good number of apples on the tree. There's some way high up, there's some high up, there's some not high up, there's some low. And there's even some on the ground. And the ground is, let's say, just soil. No, it's not rock, it's not grass, it's just soil. There's not snails crawling around in it and other bugs. It's just there. So somebody says, go get an apple off the tree. The question is, what apple do you get? Okay, note to self. Careful when drinking coffee and talking. Okay, what apple do you take? So some people would walk out there and they'd say, boy, this is a dumb thing I need to do. I'm just going to go get an apple. I'm not going to eat the apple, so I don't really give a shit about the apple. And or screw the people who sent me to get the apple. I'm just going to go pick an apple up off the ground because that's the easiest thing to do. Other people might say, screw them. I'm not going to eat the apple. I don't like apples, so I want to get even because they're making me do this, and I'm going to take a crappy apple. I'm just going to go out there and grab the crappiest apple I can find, or an apple that's crappy, but maybe it doesn't look crappy, because if I hand them an apple that looks crappy, they're not going to want it. But if I hand them an apple that doesn't look crappy, maybe I shine it up a little bit, and they don't notice that there's some wormholes in it, maybe they'll bite into it, and I'll get even with them. So that would be people acting in bad faith. But let's say we're not having people act in bad, you're not acting in bad faith. But so take any bad faith thoughts that you have of getting even, getting revenge, playing a joke, anything like that. Just think it's a good faith apple, a good faith thing, and you're going to eat the apple. So again, some people might decide, well, I'm just going to pick an apple up off the ground and wipe it off because I believe in ecology, or I believe in the spirit of the apple tree. And, why pick an apple off the tree when the one on the ground is perfectly good? I just need to, polish it up a little bit, wash it off. And, maybe there's a couple bruises in it, but that's okay. And I'm actually a good person because I'm not taking an apple off the tree. I'm being more conscious of everyone else, and I'm taking an apple that's on the ground. So, would you do that? Other people are like, well, I'm just going to go stand by the tree. I'm just going to stand underneath the tree waiting for the apple to fall. I don't want to pick an apple, and I don't want one that's dirty, and I've got some time. I don't really need to hurry with this experiment. I have some time, so I'll just wait by the tree. This one looks like it's going to fall, and I'll just stand there and wait till the apple falls into my hands. Or other people might say, well, I'm just going to go out and grab an apple. They look all the same to me from here. As I'm grabbing it, if it looks like, as I'm grabbing it, if it looks like it's not a good apple, then maybe I'll go to the one just nearby. That's easy. I'm not going to put, this is kind of a dumb experiment. I don't need to put a lot of energy or thought into it. The assignment was just go get an apple off the tree. And that's what I'm going to do, just because I was doing something else I enjoy more. And so this is kind of, not really interested in it. Just going to go get an apple. Other people might say, well, I'm going to have an apple. I might as well put in a little bit of energy to get a good apple. And I don't want to really reach too high. I'm not going to pick something off the ground. I kind of want it in this area here that's easy to get to. I don't want to climb up the apple tree. I'm just going to allocate, almost no time, maybe a minute, maybe less than a minute. And I'm going to find a good apple, and I'm going to take it off the tree, and that'll be it. Then you have other people who might say, well, since I'm doing this, I might as well get a good apple. And they'll spend an amount of time. They'll say, okay, well, how much time do I want to spend? Let's see, there's a lot of apples on that tree, or there's some number of apples, maybe to look at every apple and consider which one I should take, which one I can get without much effort. I'll allocate 5 minutes looking for the best apple I can find in 5 minutes. Then you might have some people who say, well, since I have to take an apple off the tree, why not get the best apple? and the best apple I can get. And not, not an apple I can't reach. What's the best apple I can get? Because there's enough apples on this tree that if I spend time looking for the ones I can get, or looking at the ones I can get, if I spend time looking at the ones I can get, I'll find one that's as good as one that I couldn't get or that was hard to get, because there's a lot of apples, and I can reasonably get a large number of apples, and the probability of me missing an apple that's better because it's high up is really, really low. So I'm going to put my energy into identifying the best apple. Okay, great, cool. Then there's another subset of people who say, I am going to go for an apple that nobody else can get. I'm going to go for an apple that I can grasp, or I can reach it, but I can't grasp it. So if I can stretch, if I'm 6 feet tall and I can stretch almost 8 feet, say 7 feet, 10 inches, let's say that's like the bottom of the apple, but I really need to get to 8 feet and I can't do it, and I can't jump because let's say there's a branch, and so if I jump, I'm going to hit my head on the branch, so I can't jump. I have to be able to kind of snake my way through there and get an extra 2 inches to get the apple. I've gone 7 feet, 10 inches. I just need that much more. I just need 2 inches more. And so then the idea would be to figure out, okay, well, how can I get 2 more inches? Do I pile up some dirt, get a rock, get a chair, get something to stand on? And I only get one chance on this experiment. You only have one chance. You can't try to get that. Oh, I missed, and I'm going to go for this other apple. You get one shot at the apple. So you could pick it up, you could grab something easy, you could grab something here, you could take your time, but you only get one shot at the apple. And so you don't want to jump, grab the apple, oops, I dropped it, and then you lose. You lose everything. So, or be the person who, the last example is, I'm going to get the apple that no one else can get. I'm going to get the apple that I can reach, but I can't grasp. And why would you do that? Well, and let's say the apple's not the best apple. Let's say it's a good apple. It's the best apple that's out of reach, or that you can reach but you can't grasp. What's the effect if you get that apple? What would most people say if you're the guy, if you're the person who can get the apple that nobody else could get? So some people might say, wow, good for you. You got the apple that nobody else could get. Wow, that's really great. And those are probably the people who are looking for the low-hanging fruit, or the ones on the ground, because they don't really care. On the other hand, the people who take it more seriously, it's probably directly related, that the more serious you take it, the higher value you perceive in somebody who does something that you couldn't do. And I would say possibly even if the apple that somebody else got was better, slightly better than your apple, but you got an apple that they couldn't reach. On the other hand, they might say, why would you go to so much effort for an apple that wasn't that good? But on the other hand, they would know that they couldn't get that apple. That was an apple they could not get, that it was just beyond their comprehension or their belief set. They didn't think they could get that apple. With a David Logan, applying David Logan stage 3 tribe, that would be a, I'm great, you're not. That would be, okay, well, okay, yeah, great. You got an apple that I couldn't reach, but I got an apple. I discovered the best apple on the tree. However, I think ultimately, getting the apple that other people couldn't get is going to get a level of respect and sort of admiration and awe of, wow, how did you get that? I could never get that apple. And it becomes more about the quest to get the apple than the actual apple itself. Because once you have the apple and you had the best apple, probably 5 years later, nobody's going to care so much about, well, your apple tasted 10% better than the other apple. But people could remember that that guy got the apple that nobody else could get. So what we want to get from this experiment, or this thought experiment, is what kind of person are you? Which apple would you take off the tree? And my hunch is whatever you decide pretty much correlates with how you are as an employee, how you are as a basic person, how you are as a person to live with. And so what we would get from that is if you're a person that goes for the low-hanging fruit or the stuff on the ground, you need to be matched with people who are the same way. It's not going to work if you're matched with somebody who's a perfectionist, or you want to be around somebody who's a perfectionist, or you're trying to get a job at a company where there's a lot of passion and people that are perfectionists, and for you, good is enough. Or maybe not even good, just getting it done is enough, fast to finish. Hey, I'm done. Well, what's the difference? What's the big deal? Why does it need to be good? I got it done. Now I can go do something I want to do more. Doesn't work. But if you're in a company of other people like that, then you can probably be happy. However, the problem is the company probably won't be around long, because the customers generally don't want to pay for something that isn't worth what they pay, or that their perception is that the value is less than what they want to pay. There's some neat niches for that, but probably not a good long-term strategy. And if you're a perfectionist, or somebody who puts passion into it, has meaning and purpose in their life and everything they do, probably would not be a good idea to go to a place where they didn't really care about the quality of the product or service that they're producing. And if you're the kind of person who, on the other extreme, who has to go for the thing that nobody got, you have to be prepared to be more resourceful. Tony Robbins thing, it's not your resources, it's your resourcefulness. You have to be more resourceful in figuring out how to get the thing. And if you're working in an environment where resourcefulness is not thought of well, or as Dr. Daniel Amen described his father about him, his father referred to him as a maverick, and Dr. Amen said, and to him, that was not a good thing. So probably not good to be a maverick, or to be somebody who's resourceful in a company that's very satisfied with policies and procedures, a rule-based company. Probably not a good fit. So what I would say is, from the exercise, do the exercise, figure out who you are, and then when you do the EPW, or part of your skull size kingdom, inside our skull size kingdom, would be to need to figure out, does the apple that you pick, the thought, your answer to the thought experiment, does that match the other things you're doing? And so that's it for today. Thank you for being there. Thank you to our students at Casa Grande, our WellCare students, our students in Reno, and our students who are in our stage 2, who are participating in, let's see, Nicole, Anthony, George, Lauren, who I refer to as Nicole sometimes, which is her middle name, and John, excuse me, John. I think that's our people that are stage 2 people. Anyway, thank you for being there, making it possible, and tomorrow we'll do another one.